Hello, my name is Timothy Fazio, and today I'm here to talk about video games and activism and how they're innately tied together. Um, Now, this video will be split up into two parts. The first part being the activism part, where I go over some of the examples of companies using video games to promote important ideas and some of the great stuff that's come from that. And the second part will be the journey of the development of my own game that I made for this project. But with that out of the way, let's get started into part one, the activism part. This is Plasticity, a game made by a group of college students at Southern California University about pollution and the future that it could bring. And for this game, I was able to score an interview with someone paramount to the production of it. So, if you would be so kind to introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Carla Heidelberg, and I'm a professor of teaching in biology and in environmental studies.
Carla had one of the most important parts of the game, making the message heard and understood. Alright, so a couple years back, I think like 2 or 3, um, you were involved with the making of Plasticity, and I just wanted to ask you, like, what was your part in that, and like how much did you contribute, and how was it like working
Yeah,
on it?
so a group of students from the gaming, I guess that would be cinematographics and communications, and I can't remember what the third one was, but they were gaming students, and they had self-assembled for a term project to tackle a sustainability themed game that would engage people at an early age about what they defined as important topics. What they wanted, they had all the skills they needed. They had unbelievable skill sets in computer programming, in gaming, in communication. And what they were looking for was a science advisor to meet with them, both individually in the individual. There were probably 20 people on their team. And we met weekly in various portions of the team. And their job was to pitch to me the progress that they had made, to show me what they had done, and to make sure that the science was believable and
Yeah.
and appropriate.
And the game itself also had a significant impact as well on the message that it was trying to spread. How much of an impact do you think it had? Like about like spreading the message of like pollution and
Yeah.
all that.
We used some of the environmental studies classes to test the gaming software as they were developing it to decide if it was an effective use or not. And so for our environmental studies students, it provided them the opportunity to see how science communication can be done in different ways. So I think it had a big impact. They then,
Hmm.
after they finalized it, they actually went on and they won a national award.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and the game got picked up by um, publisher's not the right word, developer.
Yeah. It's very important for games like Plasticity to be made and to be talked about. Gaming is such a big part of entertainment nowadays, and having these messages be spread through them is important for getting that message out. So, that's all I had to talk about for Plasticity. If you like to play the game for yourself, it's free on your computer. And now I'm going to move on to the other game that I'd like to talk about. This is Alba, a wildlife adventure, created by a small team of just 30 people called Ustwo Games. Now, before I get into what the game is about, I'd like to talk about what the game has been able to accomplish after its release. So, in 2022, Ustwo Games released Alba, and with the release of it, they said that they would plant a tree for every copy sold. And about 1 year later, they would reach the monumental goal of 1 million trees planted, which is crazy, at least to me. I'm thinking about it. This is a team of 30 people, a small little indie team, and they managed to get 1 million trees planted, which is crazy. And they're still ongoing with it too. So, personally, Ustwo Games is a important company to me. I mean, I've been playing their games ever since I was little, so it means a lot. It's crazy to see what they've done. Now for the game itself, it's about a young girl, Alba, attempting to stop the destruction of a nature reserve in her grandparents' town. The mayor of this town wants to build a hotel on top of the nature reserve, but through the power of a petition, Alba is trying to stop him. The game itself has a lot of messages about nature and the importance of preserving and protecting it, and, in my opinion, is a really good and fun game. So, that ends part 1, the activism part, and before I get on to part 2, I'd just like to clear something up real quick. It's not going to be the most comprehensive guide to video gaming making. To do that, it would probably be an hour long, and this video is, according to Brightspace, only supposed to be 5 minutes long. Oopsies. So, yeah, if you want a more comprehensive guide, I have the resource that I used to make my video in the description. It should be cited down there. So, if you want to, take a look. Without further ado, I'll show you how I made my own game. Okay, so this is my 3rd time recording this because all of my issues with making this video have been with this specific section. Now, let's get right into it. What I'm using to create my videos, this is Unity. It's great, I like it, and that's why I'm using it. You could use really any. I use Unity, and what we're gonna do is create a 2D project, and when this loads up, I'm gonna open it. Okay, now that we're in, you should see this. I pulled over some sprites made by Analog Studio, and with these sprites, if I can talk, what we're gonna do is just make some changes. Then we're going to go to Sprite Editor, and we're going to slice these into their own individual grids. Press slice, go with apply, and then if we go over here, we have all of these as individual little things. Now what we can do is we can take one of them, put it there. Now this is our little guy. This is what we have so far. It's going to be the main character, of course. We're going to zero him out because that's important. We're going to tag him as player. We're going to give him a fitting name of player. And what we're going to do is okay, I just had a brain fart what to do, but then what we can do is we can make a new folder named player. Take this. We should be able to just drag him in here. Oh, wait, I'm silly. 0, 0. What we can do? Boop, boop. Now he's a prefab, which is important because prefabs can be called upon multiple times. Okay, next step is what we're going to do is we're going to go to the object tile map and horizontal, rectangular. And what this is going to do is allow us to start to make a ground. And what we're going to need to do is these are our tiles. It's a little messed up. So if I could go to expect. We're going to change the, what is it? We're going to change the scale to 0.16 and 0.16. Okay, so now I pulled over this little tile palette thingy. What we're going to do is we're going to create a new tile palette. Create a rectangular, we'll name it forest. And we're going to create a rectangular tile palette, and we'll just save the folder in there. And then we're also going to want to create a folder for tiles. So now I've already sliced these images with these sprites, but what I can do is I can drag them in. I can select that folder for where the tiles are going to go. And when this is done, all the tiles will be here on the right, and I'll show you what we can do with them. Alright, so now what we can do is we can pull from these tiles on the right, start drawing, start making an actual little level. And at this point, just, I don't know, build whatever, get creative with it. Now the next step of what we're going to do is we're actually going to add in another tile map, and we're going to name this ground top. And essentially, everything is built in layers with this is the ground layer, this is on layer, this should be on layer, not 5. Keep it at 0. The player character is on layer 5 if I'm correct. Or is on layer 0 as well. Whatever. Essentially, if we should put this on layer 5, the higher the layer, the higher it is. So we can have, if we put a tile set on a higher layer, we can put objects on top without ruining the stuff on the bottom. Like so. We could put in little decorations without ruining the bottom of this. Because if we were to do it on ground, then it would ruin it. But if we have one that's a higher layer, then we could just put it on top. Okay, so what I've added right now is rigid body 2D, and this essentially gives this little guy right here a hitbox. I can get off of that. So, if we go here, we can do player controller, and we are going to be writing a script for this little guy. No space. We're going to be writing a script. And then once this script loads, we can find where it is and open it. Right, okay. And this requires a code viewing software. I'm using Visual Studio Code, which is opening up right now, apparently. And then once this opens up, we're left here. So, I'm going to do some coding off screen. I'll be back when it's done. Okay, so this is my code. Everything here. And what we can do is we can save the code. And if we go back to the game, it's going to take a second to compile. And if we play it, it's going to take another second. And then we can actually move around. And now, this game obviously isn't perfect. There isn't any collision or anything. But I think I'm going to leave it here for the sake of brevity. So yeah, this is my 3rd time recording this. And now, let's get on to the final part, which isn't changed. Alright, so you've made it to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I just want to say that this is probably the most fun I've ever had making a school project. That's why it's so long. I just went along with it. It's just a lot of fun to make. Before I go, just want to say that all the credits for all the information that I got and used in this video are in the description below if you're wondering. With that, Thank you for watching. I've been Tim.